Hey, what is going on, guys? XpertFusion here, and today we are doing the finale of the Telltale The Walking Dead TV adaptation series. Of course, this is season 1, episode 16. It is titled No Time Left. So we are finally here. I'm not going to make you guys wait for too long for season 2. I'm going to do season 2 as soon as I can, and we're going to continue on this series. I'm going to continue writing them. I just have to kind of relook over season 2, make sure everything is where I want it to be before I start going in depth with the episodes. But here we are, the finale of season 1. Let's get into it. So the episode starts off with a flashback of Lee and his soon-to-be wife Leah on a fancy date in a restaurant. And Lee asks her to marry him after they have this heartfelt conversation about work and life and all that good stuff. A man is sitting in the background on a table, and it was the same man who was sleeping with Leah. Lee gets this small little look at this man, and so we can kind of think about the fact that Lee knew who this guy was before he ended up even sleeping with Leah, which kind of threw him off the rails, of course. So that ends the flashback, and we get a close-up shot on Lee's face as he is walking down the road with Omid and Krista. They are headed towards the Marsh House. They come across a corner and see a large herd of walkers out in front of the Marsh House. Lee tells them he doesn't want them to risk their lives. Since he's going to die anyways, he can do it himself. Inside of the Marsh House, Clem uses a piece of a chair and tries to sharpen it against the bedpan. Lee, Omid, and Krista go around the corner to another street to plan out to go in. 3 stragglers from Crawford come from an alleyway and aim their guns at them. They force Lee, Omid, and Krista to drop their guns and get on their knees. They follow the orders as Lee tries to talk to them, but they don't want to listen at all. They explain how their friends were all torn apart because of them, and they ruined their community, everything they were trying to do. Lee asks what the hell they want, and the man replies with vengeance. He puts a gun to Lee's head. The others put guns to Krista and Omid's head. Lee tells them that they weren't at the attack, so they can just let them go and just kill him. The man says no, and that he doesn't care who the hell was there and who wasn't, because they are all here now, and that's all that matters at this point. It's enough for him to want to kill them. Lee tells the man to just fucking do it then. The man is surprised by what Lee says. A couple of walkers come from around the corner, and one of the men, specifically the one that was aiming the gun at Omid, goes to stab the walkers with his knife. Krista gives a look at Lee as she still has a gun being pointed to the back of their head. She turns around quickly, grabs the man's gun, and at the same time, Lee drops to the floor and kicks the feet of the guy who was holding the gun to him down so the guy falls, and Lee gets on top of that man and starts choking him, just as Krista grabs the gun from the one guy and shoots the man fighting the walkers in the back of the head, and then she comes over and fires 2 shots into the guy that was on top of her. Lee then chokes out the man that he was on top of until he destroys his windpipes. The 3 get up and see the walker herd coming their way. Lee tells Omid and Krista to go and lead the walkers away, and he'll go through the herd to the Marsh House. He chops up a walker and smears the blood and guts on him. He takes his cleaver in a badass montage. Lee walks through the herd, killing a couple walkers every now and then, as Omid and Krista slowly walk down the road, bringing the walkers in another direction. This is mainly so at least when they get out, they'll have a clear path for Clementine to leave, but Lee says screw it, he's just going to go through with some walker blood on him and just hope for the best. Lee uses the cleaver to slice as many walkers as possible. He has some close calls, but in the end he makes it to the Marsh House and enters inside of it. He uses the walkie-talkie and asks where the fuck he is. Adam replies and says room 314. Lee says how can he trust him, and Adam says he saw him enter and knows he's alone. Adam says he wants to talk. Lee says it's all he wants to do too. Lee sees a police walker down the hallway, but he continues up the stairs and reaches the room. He knocks on the door as Adam comes from behind and points a revolver at the back of his head from the room across the hall. He tells Lee to drop any weapons. Lee drops his cleaver and his Glock. Lee enters the room and sits on the couch. Adam sits across from him with the gun aimed at Lee's chest. Lee asks where is she. Adam doesn't answer. He just asks if he knows who he is, and Lee says he doesn't. All he knows is that he's clearly some psychopath, maybe a pedophile or something. Adam tells Lee a story. He says his family was sitting and enjoying a nice meal in the woods at a campfire when 2 men came and beat their family up and kidnapped their daughter. Lee asks how that has anything to do with him. Adam says those men were the St. John brothers. Him, his son, and his wife had to deal with looking for her for a long time. His wife went crazy and went out looking for her. Went out looking for blood at that point. They found her. He and her son found her with a bullet in her head at a camp. The girl's name was Jolene. Lee starts to remember Jolene and what happened with her. Lee says that wasn't him who shot her, and Adam says he knows that, but then him and his son were starving out in the woods. He even has diabetes and needed insulin, which happened to be in their van, and that was stolen the night of when she died. His son died the next day because his group stole all their supplies. Lee says they didn't take the insulin, just the food and the supplies from the van. Adam says the insulin wasn't there. And that is all that matters. He doesn't care if he took it. He doesn't care what kind of bullshit excuse he comes up with. He took the supplies because he saw him. He starts yelling at Lee, saying that he thought the St. John brothers were behind all of what happened, so he went after them for blood. But they were all dead. So he kept looking. He kept going because he needed to get vengeance for his son, for his wife, for his daughter. And he found the motor inn, a place that his wife was scouting out before. He came back to kill some of you one day. Or I came back. He's telling the story. He's saying he came back. But everyone was gone. He found a map to the Marsh House in Savannah, though. So he took the main roads and beat them to the city because he never took breaks. He just kept going. He says that he knew Clementine's last name because of the drawing that had her last name on it back at the motor inn. He found the room lists, found her parents' room, saw that they were both turned and tied them up, which didn't last too long. He found the walkie and started talking to Clem, telling her that her parents are safe, but she must keep it classified and not tell anyone about it. And she fell for it. She told me all about what's happened with all you, what you've done. It was first a mission of revenge, but now it's turned into a rescue. He wanted to rescue her from them because of the dangers he's put her in. Lee asks again in a sinister voice, "Where is she?" Clem says, "Lee?" from the locked room. Lee starts to get up, but Adam points the revolver back at him and tells him to sit down. Lee asks what he wants. Adam says he just wants the girl, that's all. He looks at the bite on his shoulder and asks about it. Lee says there are others in his group that will take care of her. Adam says he will take him to another room and kill him because he doesn't want to get any blood on his floor again since he just cleaned it up. Lee says that is not going to happen. Clem picks the lock on the door with a piece of wood and slowly opens it. Clem walks slowly towards Adam from behind and smacks him in the back of the head with a piece of wood from the leg of the chair. Lee then gets up, grabs his cleaver from the floor, and slashes Adam in the shoulder. He knocks him off the couch and they get into a scuffle. Clem is smacked in the face by Adam as she comes at him. Lee knocks him to the wall, but Adam grabs a lamp and smashes Lee in the head. Lee falls to the floor. Adam kicks Lee in the stomach, then gets on top of him to choke him out. But Adam is suddenly shot in the head by Clementine with his own revolver. Clementine is in shock as she just killed someone. Clementine comforts Lee, who is injured now. She sees the bite mark on his shoulder, and she starts tearing up, and she's in denial that he will end up dying. Lee comforts her anyways. He tries to explain what happened and what will happen. She denies it and says that he can overcome it, but Lee says he's got the fever, and so he knows what's going to happen. He tells her he's going to get her to Omid and Krista. They should be near the bridge. Lee tries to walk out of the room, but he collapses. Clem tries to help him up and tells him he can't leave her now. Lee says he knows, and he keeps trying to get up, but the walker with the cop outfit that was downstairs comes up into the room. So, therefore, it walked its ass up those stairs. Lee tries to hold the walker back, but Clem takes the revolver and pops the walker in the neck and then in the head. Lee falls to the floor. He tells Clem his body can't handle it anymore. Lee looks at the police walker and grabs the handcuffs. He locks himself to a pole with his hand. He tells Lee he doesn't want... It was a radiator pole, like next to a radiator. He tells Clem he doesn't want him to hurt her when he turns. Clem denies that he will turn. She just keeps denying it until Lee says he's sorry. Clem holds on to his other hand. Lee slowly lies his head down and tells Clem to be strong. He says she will make it. He knows she will. Lee tells Clem that Omid and Krista will be waiting for her, and she just has to get out of here by all means necessary. Lee says to Clem that he'll miss her. He says, "I'll miss you, sweet pea." Clem cries more than she ever has before. Lee takes his gun and puts it to his head. He tells her he doesn't want her seeing this. Clem walks away, but Lee just falls down. He can't even shoot himself, that's how weak he is, and he drops the gun to the floor. He's still kind of awake, though. He's not completely dead yet. He tries to reach for the gun, but he can't. He's just sitting there with his eyes half closed. Clem goes back and tries to wake him up, and his eyes are just kind of out of it. She gets up and realizes what she has to do, because she can't let him turn. She takes the gun, points it at his head, and while shaking uncontrollably, she shoots him right in the head. The screen cuts to black with sad music continuing. It then shows Clementine walking down the streets with Lee's Glock. Most of the walkers are gone from the area. She makes it to the bridge and sees a truck, and she sits in the back of it. She sees bullet casings on the floor. She then sees two figures in the distance, and those two figures start walking towards the bridge. It's, of course, Omid and Krista. Clementine smiles. She's still tearing up, though, but she kind of gets a little bit of a smile on her face. Then we get to an after credits scene, right? After all the credits are said and done, we have some nice credits, and an after credits scene. A walker is walking down the road, and a man comes from behind the walker and chops off its head with a machete. It is revealed to be Kenny. He is completely unharmed from the walker herd in the alley, and he looks up as intense music plays, and it then cuts to black. End season right there. So yes, that is season 1 of the Walking Dead Telltale Games TV adaptation series. I'm very looking forward to doing season 2. It's really exciting. It's going to be very different than the video game season 2. It's going to expand upon it, have 400 Days characters come in. It's going to have some new characters that we've never even seen before. It's going to have new stories that we've never seen before. It's going to have all sorts of new crazy stuff going on with Kenny, Clementine, Omid, Krista, new people. You bet your ass, Jordan, Molly, all these characters are going to come back to this awesome new season, and it's going to be really, really cool. This is Clementine's story. I just want to make that clear. This is Clementine's story. She is the main character of this series, you know. Lee was, arguably the main character of season 1, but at the end of the day, Clementine is the main protagonist, and she will be. So that's kind of just something to keep in mind when it comes to future seasons, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to have other characters who are going to shine and have their main character-esque moments. Like Kenny's going to have a lot of that, trust me, especially next season. I'm doing a lot of stuff with Kenny that I'm really excited for. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let me know how you felt about it in the comment section below. If you have any ideas for season 2 or 3 or 4 or just the future of this show, if you have any ideas, whether it be character ideas, give me a whole analysis of a character, like a whole description of a group, maybe a villain or something. If you have any ideas, just let me know in the comments. I might not take all your ideas. If I don't like your ideas, I'm not going to take them. But I might not take them even if I do like them. It's still my story at the end of the day. I'm still going to write it the way I want to write it. But having good ideas from the comment sections is always a great thing because it can spark some new ideas, or I might like it. And if I like it enough, I'm going to give you credit for sure if it's a good enough idea. So let me know in the comment section below. Just letting you know, I have most of the series already finished anyways. Like I've already written most of what I'm planning to do for the rest of the series. So, some of the stuff might not really change even depending on your ideas. But I am going through and rewriting them as I go through these episodes so I can make them perfect, as good as humanly possible. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.